CLP supported her. So that is overwhelming, okay? So that is the first thing, and that is why we've been standing with Diane, we've been fighting, because it just feels like this whole situation is very unfair. So we know what led to the suspension, we know that Diane apologised, and now it has been revealed that this investigation has been finished for 5 whole months. Shame is true, because we had a rally on the 28th of April in Hackney Downs. I streamed my live over here, streamed that live. There was an amazing amount of support, especially coming out of the TUC Black Workers Conference, where there was, definite unanimous support for supporting Diane. Okay, and part of the reason why we had that rally is because we needed the people in Hackney North to know that if Diane remained suspended, she would automatically be disqualified as the candidate for Hackney North and Stoke Newington. Yay! So this is why we've been fighting, because we didn't want that to happen. So, as the investigation has been resolved, there is no reason why the whip should not be restored to Diane Abbott. So, just to say, obviously, this is a time for change. We need change. We're in the throes of an election. This isn't about, bringing anyone down. This is about fairness. This is about a due process. This is about democracy. This is about the community. And Diane has been a pioneer. She's led on so many things. A lot of people, God forbid, but our time always comes. But how many times is it when it's someone's obituary that you really find out the depth of action of someone's career and contribution? And we're not about to take Diane for granted, because she's honoured. She's highly regarded in her CLP. And for myself, joining the Labour Party in 2017 and being part of Hackney North and joining the Labour Party to fight racism, I'm trained to teach citizenship, a Labour Party, this is the product of a Labour government. It's been quite shocking to see what has happened. So first and foremost, we want, the higher echelons to understand that we will not stand by and let Diane be excluded from Parliament due to unfair, disgusting processes. So for all of the talk here, there and everywhere about being banned, on the 4th of June, next Tuesday, the NEC, which is the National Executive Committee, has the opportunity to endorse Diane as the candidate. Diane has a 33,000 majority. Since 1987, her majority has risen and risen, okay? There is, no good reason. There's disparity in the way that she's been treated. So I hope that people understand that this rally today is to make sure that we finally get the justice that Diane deserves. She's had the whip reinstated. She now needs to be able to stand, because she's been through the democratic process of being reselected, and that is what the members want. So I would just like to pass over to a prominent member of Hackney North, who's going to also reiterate what I'm saying. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you so much for all the work that you and others have done in organising this magnificent rally today. It's so good to see so many people come out. Thank you all for coming out today. I think it shows how well thought of Diane is in Hackney and indeed around the country. My name's John Stewart. I'm a member of the Labour Party in Hackney North and Stoke Newington, where Diane has consistently stood with us. We are here today to stand with Diane because she has stood with us and the people of Hackney for the last 37 years. I was talking earlier to a friend who was at the selection meeting where Diane won selection as the Labour candidate in 1986. I was too young. Despite the white hair, I wasn't active in politics in the 80s. But we know that Diane has consistently won re-selection and then re-election in Hackney because she is extremely popular. She delivers, she does the job. We went through a re-selection process in Hackney North just under 2 years ago, and not a single branch or affiliate in our constituency party opposed Diane being our candidate again. She won unopposed amongst all the branch Labour parties, all 11 of them, and every single affiliated trade union and socialist society. There was no vote against her. Perhaps that's the reason why they felt the need to block her by bureaucratic manoeuvres at national level. Diane has been a trailblazer. She's been an outstanding representative in Parliament, an outstanding socialist parliamentarian, and we should all continue to support her and to demand that she's on the ballot paper as the Labour candidate at the coming general election. Thank you all for coming.
That was John. I'm going to bring up another member of the law, hard-working person, also working around stand-up to racism. Bring up Soraya.
Thank you, Lucy. I think you can say unreservedly that it's been painful over the past few months watching the process that Diane's been subject to. And I think every black woman up and down the country has felt hurt, just being witness to what the kind of damage that's been done both to her reputation and her standing across our community. It's emblematic, ultimately, of much of the racism that we still experience in society. You know, for all the Equalities Act, for all the kind of inquiries that have been undertaken from Scarman onwards, our society still remains inequitable. And I'm grateful for the fact that Diane, as my MP, has always stood for something as opposed to falling for everything. She's been a woman of privilege, of principle, and ultimately, in an era of servile, careerist politicians, her head has been above the parapet in terms of calling out what needs to be called out. From Iraq through to Gaza, she has always been on the right side of history.
Yeah.
And in terms of what she represents for each and every one of us who've been maligned, mistreated, or marginalised, Diane has been there for us. For each of us that's been disrespected, disregarded, and debased, where has Diane been? There for us. Ultimately, we need to continue to stand together as a community to ensure that Diane remains standing tall. Nobody can topple this woman. They've tried for 37 years, and ultimately she's remained solid, ensuring that her constituents are represented and that inequality is called out wherever it occurs. I'm grateful for every single one of you that's turned out today. Yay! Ultimately, we know where Diane should be cometh the general election. That's in her seat in the Houses of Parliament, remaining solid in terms of what she does for us. I consider it a privilege to have grown up with her as my MP. Likewise, my daughter, Diane is our heroine. And I think, ultimately, we must continue to call out what we see as blatant oppression of a black woman, despite the contribution she's made to society and further afield. Ultimately, I want everyone across this perimeter to hear it when you call, I stand with Diane! I stand with Diane! I stand with Diane! I stand with Diane! Thank you so much for giving me time.
Diane Abbott made a decision to stand at this election. She was reselected. When she's ready to stand down, she should be given the dignity of being able to make that decision. And, we are in Hackney North. There's an amazing deep legacy of radicalism in this area. And like when you look up in Avenue Park Cemetery and you see like the hundreds of years of political activism that are coming out of Stoke Newington, I feel so proud that we do have someone like Diane who is not afraid to speak up, who is not afraid to be honest, and has stood so firm by her political principles. And I know that she's deeply regarded in the CLP because of that. And as people are saying, like, you know, the way that politics are changing, the Labour Party is supposed to be about a broad church. So there's supposed to be, you know, like we're not all robots believing in the same thing. There has to be discussion, there has to be movement, there has to be representation. And when we say that, you know, when you see the t-shirt saying, I am Diane, there's a lot at stake here for black people in this country, for minority communities, global majorities. When we think about the post-pandemic, the disparity, the inequality, we look at, you know, criminal justice, health, education, housing, there's so much at stake here. And we cannot have the polarization of racism. We need to have the respect. We need to realize that there are generations of black, brown, minority communities living in this country, and that for Britain to thrive, everybody needs to have a fair opportunity, and we need to be able to call out racism and have equality. But to stand with Diane, if we have integrity and we want to see equality and racism finally tackled. So the next person that I would like to call up is again another member of the CLP, an active officer who can give, you know, an account of Diane's reputation and her work. So if I could call George up, please.
Thank you very, very much, Lucy. And thanks to all of you for coming out this evening at extraordinarily short notice to show solidarity with our Member of Parliament since June 1987, Diane. And for 6 years, I was the trade union liaison officer for Hackney North and Stoke Newington Labour Party. People ask why you stand with Diane. And as others have said already, we stand with Diane because Diane has stood with us for nearly 4 decades. Sad to say that the PA, thankfully still working, I'm sad to say that Keir Starmer and the clique around at the helm of today's Labour Party seemingly want rid of this troublesome priestess because she does stand with us. Because she has stood on picket lines when Labour MPs were being instructed not to join workers fighting for union recognition, not to join workers fighting for a real pay rise, not to join workers fighting for improved terms and conditions. Shame on him. And Diane has also been to the fore in standing in solidarity with the people of Palestine. And a big call out to those who are being camped here demanding that our local authority divest from its holdings in corporations that supply weaponry to the Israeli war machine and have been complicit in the occupation of Palestinian lands. Diane, over the last 13 months, to me, smacks of cynicism. It smacks of hypocrisy. And frankly, it is a terrible illustration of incompetence. To claim that their main selling point against the Tories is that they will be competent in comparison to the Sunak chaos. We must continue to fight for Diane to be the Labour candidate in Hackney North and Stoke Newington at the 2024 general election. All trade union representatives on the National Executive of the Labour Party to insist that Diane be allowed to stand in Hackney North in the 4th of July general election. I know 6 general secretaries of trade unions have this week actually agreed to demand of the Labour leadership that Diane be allowed to stand. And I was hoping actually at
we are going to let our MP, our reselected candidate, for herself.
your local community, you will find yourself back with no due process, with no conversation, without even explaining to you why you are back. So let me say to all of you listening, I have campaigned over 40 years for the Labour. I have also campaigned for equality. I've spoken up on race, I've spoken up on gender, I've spoken up on gay rights. The party leadership is throwing all that in my face. Well, I am here to say that I will continue to speak up. Good. Yes. I will continue to struggle, and by any means possible, I will be the candidate that I remember when I first ran as the Labour MP all the way back in 1987, people thought I could win. People thought you couldn't elect that woman to Parliament because it never enough at all. But local people went out, campaigned, knocked on doors, and made me Britain's first black woman member of Parliament. I have to keep faith with that loyalty. I have to keep faith with my principles. I have to keep faith with supporting and speaking up for equalities, for people, for the community here in Hackney. So I promise you that as long as it is possible, I will be the Member of Parliament for Hackney North and Slough.
Good evening, Hackney. Do we need to be told what we love? We know what we love. We love Diane. We stand. Diane has been one of the Labour Party's most principled, most powerful campaigners for decades upon decades upon decades. She cares about us. She cares about you. We care about her. She cares about the socialist movement. She cares about the Labour Party. We all care. I would like to lead into one statistic that I'm sure Diane cares about, that we all need to care about. The past 14 years, since the financial crisis, economic growth has shrunk by minus 0.2% every year. Contraction, year, average contraction, year, annual contraction, sorry. And in that time, the top 10 UK billionaires' wealth has increased by 281%. Who has been in power in this that time, and what are they been playing at? Diane cares about the same issues she always does, and many of the same issues still exist, although we did make many gains the last time we were in power. Housing, poverty, inequality, racism, the economy, jobs, community, society, and especially racism. How can it be dignified for the Labour Party to accuse Diane of being against the very thing that she's fought of, like many of us have, like I'm sure all of you have, like all of you have, since we're knee-high to a grasshopper. She's one of the most powerful campaigning anti-racism warriors the country's ever seen. Do we all love democracy? I just want to say that I stand with Dan, I'm with Dan, and to have the most impact in democracy, I'm going to be running as an independent in Hackney North, and I'm going to be supporting Diane. Thank you.
Stop the right-wing New Labour Party! They're wankers! AUM!
When I say, when you mess with that Abbott, you say you mess with us. You mess with us. Okay? It's call and response. Please listen keenly to the last part of the point before it's all changing in order to what's happening. Like you and me, Diane Abbott's parents came to England when Britain needed and invited them. That's why, when you mess with Diane Abbott, you mess with us! Like you and me, Diane Abbott's parents survived and thrived despite the racial abuse they received
since 1987, June 1987. So Diane's been my MP the whole time I've lived here. And during that time, I was an NUT rep in a school in Camden. I was the Camden NUC Secretary, and recently I've been General Secretary of the National Education Union. And I tell you that every time we ask Diane for support from a school, from a local association, from the National Union, Diane was always there with us, including recently at a strike we had at Leeways. Diane has always supported working people in their struggles, and that's why it's no surprise that just this week the General Secretaries of the affiliated unions, ASLEF, TSSA, Unite, CWU, the NUM and the FBU have all written to Keir Starmer demanding that Diane be the candidate. I've been listening to how people talk about Diane, the close feelings they have, the way black women talk about Diane's, the importance that Diane plays in their lives. All of that really matters. And I see this as well, as we all see it, I think, as a political attack inside the Labour Party. But Keir Starmer is determined to try and drive out everybody who wants to stand up for working people, everybody who wants to stand up over climate change, people who want to stand up around Gaza, people who want to do something about the refugee crisis. It's vital that we fight back on that. So I heard Keir Starmer this morning. He said that Diane Abbott has not yet been banned from being a candidate. So what does he mean by that? If he's a man of his word, that means that Diane will be the candidate. And if he's a liar, it means that they'll ban her just after it's too late for her to stand as an independent. This is a challenge to Keir Starmer. Is he a man of his word? No. Does he respect the wishes of the people of Hackney North and Stoke Newington? We want Diane as our candidate because she has stood with us across 40 years. Stand with Diane.
She should not have to think about being a candidate. So, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to give people across this country confidence in the word of the leader, confidence in the fact that we are going to have policies that are going to, promote equality, include everybody. We've been power in the last 15 years. And a lot of things have gone down that have been out of order, yeah? So we're not about to let this element take out Diane. So while we're here, I just want to say thank you. Specifically, I want to say thank you to those people that have come out, that have stood with us, but I also want to thank the women that are standing up against this misogyny. This misogynoir. So and we need to actually be examining how women are being treated across politics, regardless of your race or your class. Yeah, there's really something going on here. If you look at how Angela Rayner is treated, when it goes the investigation goes no further. But when we're talking about investigations, what happened to North Yorkshire Police's investigation into Manchester? How is it acceptable that someone can say something so inflammatory, racist, and inciting to violence and still be giving money? Like, what kind of government, what kind of country are people, willing to accept? So, it's really important that we stand up. Diane's voice needs to remain in the House. She's a veteran, experienced, so, at the very least, she has the dignity of being able to stand out when she is ready. She's chosen to continue to be that representative, and we just want that so much.
So, you can forgive me, I'm going to go a little bit off script. So, we've heard a lot about Labour tonight. Diane is so much less than this Labour Party. And I want to give people some context about what's been happening in Hackney. I'm not sure everybody knows. If you're from Hackney, you will know what's been happening. We've had a paedophile counsellor impose on us. They let a counsellor who has been convicted of basically having child pornography, and they let him stand. That man was elected in this place. Yeah? We've had child youth, a black child being stripped and searched in Hackney. I have absolutely no love for the Labour Party in Hackney. This is an undemocratic party that has absolute contempt for local people. Diane Abbott will get elected in Hackney with or without Labour. They're looking for Diane Abbott, not Labour. The woman is a whole brand in herself. It isn't about Labour, they're voting for Diane Abbott. And I want Diane Abbott to know, with or without Labour, we will stand with you and we will make you our MP. Stop being so wedded to the two-party political system. We need to break the monopoly, guys, because this is what they do. The minute you say, no, I want to be independent, I want to have a voice, they say, yeah, we'll just kick you out. So we as a community also need to start thinking about long-term planning. How do we make this place more democratic? I am sick of Labour. Absolutely sick to the teeth. They're awful on every single issue. They don't listen to us. How many of you have even seen your council? The only time you see them is when they want to be elected. They come to my doorstep when they want to vote for me. We want to say to Diane again, and I know I'm probably going off script, but we will vote for you with or without Labour. Please stand as an independent if they are not going to let you stand, and you will see that your Hackney majority will say. So what do we do? We stand with? We stand with? We stand with? Thank you very much.
From the community, and in this community there have been councillors that have been punished, suspended. We know that there's a whole lot going on around Gaza, around the ceasefire, across the country. Okay, so you know it's legitimate that people are going to be raising up their voices to voice concerns when like Martin Ford KC, I see him here. I'm hoping that he's going to be speaking on the national media. But in 2022, following the leak that showed that there was sabotage in the 2017 election, the investigation reporting into that leak produced a protocol. We waited ages for that protocol because what we saw in that leak was some really disgusting behaviour and comments being made about Diane and other black MPs within the Labour Party. And what Martin Ford found was that yes, there was factionalism. As someone who joined the party under Jeremy Corbyn, I had no idea about the factionalism, okay? But it's real, it's really real. And since, you know, things have changed, there's been a comprehensive effort to eradicate, suspend, violate socialists, Jewish people, brown and Asian people, black people, up and down the country for standing up for what they believe in, based on factional lines. And this situation is the culmination of that faction thinking that they can get rid of Diane so that they have control, so that we don't have to answer to the poor church. If you want to be good at what you do, you need to be able to listen to criticism. So what we need to take away from this today is that the local community is spoken. We want our democracy to be regarded. Like Diane has got a 33,000 majority, and there's lots of people north and south that benefit from that vote. But do they support her? Have they supported her? Or is there an element that is very happy to see the back of her, step in her shoes, and do as they are told, because they are part of being, part of taking her out unfairly. So this rally today, like, I don't want to get into it too deeply, but there's a lot of dirt happening. There's a lot of bad blood, yeah, because there's been unfair behaviour, and that has been indicated by the way that Diane has been treated. So I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out here today to show those people who run in the council, you need to listen to the people. You need to listen. We've been out here for 3 weeks demanding that Hackney Council divest its pension fund from companies that directly benefit from arming Israel. So we've been complicit in what has been going on since October and for 75 years. Okay? This is about a community, everybody being together, but if you believe in certain things, that doesn't mean you automatically are going to condone and stand by while genocide and major violation of international laws occur. So we need to continue to stand up, we need to continue to fight, we need to push back on those who think that they have their hands on the levers of control and that they will get what they want and keep it like that. So thank you so much for everyone for being here. But as soon as that election is over, people will be back here demanding that Hackney Council listens to the people, listens to the country, listens to the students, listens to the future generation. We want the pension fund to be divested. We know about the history of the town Haifa that is twin, having the legacy of being one of the first colonial settlements. We don't want to be twinned with that place, okay? Too much has gone down, and we need to fight and continue to fight for the freedom of the Palestinians and human rights for people, fighting against the apartheid system, fighting against racism around the world. So Diane is a beacon for us. We are here for her. We want her to stand. We need her voice to